right. Oh, I forgot. I wasn't even fully in costume. I'm sorry. Good evening. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all having a good summer. I can see the keyboard now with the candlelight, so I'm not gonna have any more zoopies, hopefully. But hello. I'm your host, Mr. Summer Boy, aka Hoff Matthews. I'm wearing my reflective shades, so once again, you can actually see my computer screen and the OBS interface that I use to stream this show. Pretty interesting, right? I'm gonna take these off. These don't say fun in the sun, right? These are more like, we have some questions for you, Mr. Anderson. These are more like those kinds of shades. But that's okay. I hope everyone's, like I said, having a good summer. Hope you're keeping cool. Welcome to Hoff's Public Domain HorrorFest. This is a live comedy show and horror movie screening series. We show a movie and we break it up with live comedy host segments like what you're seeing right now. We used to do this physically live in Brooklyn, but when the pandemic happened, we converted the show into a live stream format. And because we're on the internet, to avoid copyright issues, we've been showing older classic horror movies which have fallen into the public domain. Like tonight's selection, Messiah of Evil, from 1973, an eerie tale of a woman who goes to a small seaside town to investigate her father's disappearance. It's written and directed by Willard Hoyk and Gloria Katz, who also co-wrote American Graffiti, one of my favorite movies, and I believe wrote and directed Howard the Duck. So, real pedigree behind this film. I do think it's very good, a particularly good public domain horror movie. We would have done it earlier on this show, except that for a long time I wasn't aware it was in the public domain, but it is. And I think it's a particularly appropriate selection for July, because I think it's got a lot of summer vibes. It takes place at this beach town. There's a lot of beach scenes. I don't know if it actually takes place in summer or not. I'm not sure if they established that, but it just feels right for this moment to me. And it got me thinking that there's actually a lot of summer horror movies. You might not think that, right? Because it's such a bright, warm season, but there really are a lot of scary movies that take place in the summer. And I started wondering, are there even any aspects of summer that haven't been turned into horror movies yet? So we're going to start off the show tonight with a little interactive game. What I want you guys to do is, in the chat, shout out stuff that you associate with summer. When you think summer, you think of whatever. Just say it in the chat, and we're going to go through and see if the stuff you shout out has already been turned into a horror movie. And if it isn't, whether we can come up with, or whether we here at HorrorFest have maybe already come up with, any pitches for new horror movies based on this material. So, again, you can start shouting that stuff out in the comments whenever you're ready. I'm seeing some stuff come up, but just to give you an example right off the bat, summer camp. Right? There's so many summer camp horror movies. Friday the 13th and that franchise would be the most obvious example, but there's also the sleepaway camp films, right? There's one-offs like The Burning, or more recent entries like Bloody Murder, or Fear Street 1978. The tons and tons of summer camp horror films. And I see we have some suggestions already, so what do we got in the chat? Sackman says BBQ, absolutely. I mean, I think... let me see where I have a graphic here for it. Here we go. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, classic barbecue horror movie. There's also Killer BBQ. I don't know much about that one, but definitely a horror movie about barbecues. Watermelon, I don't think there are any watermelon horror movies, unless anybody knows of any that I'm not aware of. Maybe something about that thing where, like, if you eat a watermelon seed, it grows in your stomach, sort of like a David Cronenberg body horror kind of thing. That could be fun. Sharks and tornadoes. Now, I know where you're going with that. First of all, obviously, sharks by themselves. We have Jaws, all the Jaws sequels, any killer shark movies. Tornadoes, especially tornadoes in conjunction with sharks. I don't know how those could ever be turned into a horror movie, and I certainly don't think it's ever been done. Oh boy, Flag Day. I'm not sure when Flag Day is, and I don't know of any Flag Day horror movies. There is, if you want to think about patriotic holidays, there is Uncle Sam, the William Lustig film, and I'm just bringing up this graphic so I can brag about how back in 2015, in the original version of HorrorFest, we had a screening of Uncle Sam with a Q&A with the director, William Lustig. He hung out with us at a bar afterwards. It was pretty cool. I don't know about Flag Day, though. I guess maybe there's an anthropomorphic flag where people are burning the flag and it comes to life and kills people to get revenge on them for not being patriotic enough. Oh my god, you guys are outdoing yourselves. There's so many of these. Ice Pops. Okay, so that's a good one. There is Ice Cream Man, starring Clint Howard. This poster graphic I have points out that has Spanish subtitles. So if you're looking for something to watch with your abuela or your tío, you can suggest El Hombre del Helado con Clint Howard. I don't know about Ice Pops specifically. I know what you did last summer just is a horror movie. But you're right. That's a classic summer horror movie. The Marcus. That they're hanging out on the beach and stuff. I remember that. Lemons. That's a good one, Sam. Lemons. I don't know if any lemon horror movies. Again, I think that would be something with the sourness, the lemons that are so sour that they make people's faces so puckered that they implode or something like that. Let's see, fireworks. There are no horror movies entirely about fireworks, I don't think. There is a fireworks kill in Uncle Sam, but I think we have the opportunity to make the first horror movie dedicated entirely to fireworks with Boom of Doom. Mocked up some poster art there for Boom of Doom, so there's a little idea for everybody. Beach Blanket Bingo. Well, that of course was made into the classic chiller Beach Blanket Bingo starring Frankie Avalon. I still can't watch that movie alone. It's terrifying. Tomatoes. Well, I guess that would be, I don't have the poster graphic, but that would be Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, right? That would be the horror movie to go with that one. Let's see. Okay. Summer break from school. Yes, there is at least one horror movie for that. Final Exam, where people are being killed on I think it's a college campus, while everyone else has already left for the summer holiday. Okay, shout out any more if you have them. But I will note we've had some major omissions here. I mean, we talked about the beach. We didn't mention surfing specifically, but there are surfing horror movies like The Shallows or Blood Surf. I've never seen Blood Surf, but clearly there's surfing in it, I guess. But what I have never seen is a boogie boarding horror movie. Because I've never been surfing. I've never been a surfer, but I used to boogie board a lot. And I think you could make a lot of money with a movie like The Boogie Board Man. Ooh, right? That's pretty creepy. I think that would be pretty good. Let's see. What else we got here? Okay, summer camp. I was talking about summer camp before. I never went to a sleepaway camp. I don't know how many people have actually done that in the chat. I would always go to day camp, like YMCA day camp. You just, when I wasn't in school, my parents would send me to the YMCA during the day, and they'd have activities and stuff, and then I'd just come home in the afternoon. So I would suggest YDOA. Yeah, you guys get it. It's a killer YMCA or something. I think that could be good. Summer jams, right? Everyone always talking about how, what's the song in the summer gonna be? Well, what if there was a horror movie called Earworm? You're scared. Look at that graphic. That's disgusting, right? That would be a great movie. And Dre mentioned Ice Pops, and this isn't exactly about that, but I love slushies, like smoothies or just like frozen drinks, the ices they have at the movie theaters. Those are great. So what about a slushy horror movie called Brain Freeze? There's brains in the background. Pretty good. No one brought up swimming pools, but there are swimming pool horror movies like 12 Feet Deep or The Pool. as far as I know, there are no pool noodle horror movies. So might I suggest Noodle of Death? There's an idea for you. So, as you can see, there's been a lot of summer horror movies, but I think there's really still a lot more material to be mined from this season. Water Parks, Deadpool. That's a pretty good title for a horror movie. It might infringe on copyright. Water Parks, I don't know. I don't think there's been a water park horror movie. That would be pretty good. There's been at least one amusement park horror movie, Hellfest, although that was a Halloween movie, I think. So yeah, something with water parks where a good survival horror movie would be like someone gets stuck in one of those water slide tubes. Oops, showing some nipples there. Sorry, it's supposed to be a family show here. I apologize. But yeah, one of those tubes. I mean, just going down those tube slides, that's pretty scary in and of itself. So something with that would be pretty good. All right, but I'm closing the suggestions now because I think we've got a lot of good material. And I just want to say, if anybody out there watching is a producer or a potential investor, obviously we've got all these great horror movie ideas, and you can't have them because the WGA is on strike, and we stand with labor. So kiss our asses, motherfuckers. You can't have any of this good shit. I swore a lot more there than I intended to. So again, family show. It's supposed to be a family show. But anyway, once the strike ends, definitely hit us up, have your people call our people, and we will do lunch. But I think that's about it for the intro segment here, so I'm going to get the movie started. I will say, as always, me and my co-producers, Andrei, Alupului, and Bess, Pritchett, have added some stuff into the movie tonight. Not that much. Most of what you see will just be the original film, but here and there are going to be some little Easter eggs mixed in. So keep an eye out for those. I'll be back on in 15 to 20 minutes. But for now, please enjoy Act 1 of Messiah of Evil.
They say that nightmares are dreams perverted. I've told them here it wasn't a nightmare, but they don't believe me. They nod and make little notes in my file, and they watch me now, waiting for me to scar my breasts, to eat insects maybe, or to lift my dress like some crazy old woman and urinate on the floor. But there's so little time left. You've got to listen. Not far from here, there's a small town on the coast. They used to call it New Bethlehem, but they changed the name to Point Doom after the moon turned blood red. Warrentoon doesn't look any different than 1,000 other neon stucco towns. But what happened there, what they did to me, what they're doing now, they're coming here. They're waiting at the edge of the city. They're peering around buildings at night. And they're waiting. They're waiting for you. And they'll take you one by one, and no one will hear you scream. No one will hear you scream!
I went there looking for my father. He used to spend winters in Point Dune painting. Then, after my mother died, he stayed, and his letters became our only contact. Until recently, when his letters became more and more bizarre and finally stopped.
I have little time now. I can't write again. You mustn't worry. And please, you must promise not to follow me. I'm afraid to see people anymore. It's better that I wait alone for it to come.
Fill her up?
Yes.
Dogs. Stray dogs.
Doesn't sound like dogs.
Has to be. Has to be dogs. I've hunted in them woods out there. Nothing but quail and rabbits. Rabbits don't make that sound.
That's Point Dune ahead, isn't it?
Why do you want to go to Point Dune?
I'm visiting somebody there.
I can't understand why anybody would want to go to Point Dune visiting. I mean, it's just a piss poor little town. It's deader than hell.
You forgot.
Hello there. Fill her up?
$2. No knock.
Yes, sir. The machine's broke, lady. Don't you have any cash?
Well, no, but this is...
That's all right. Forget it.
Oh,
Get out! Get your stamps?
Father? Father?
June 30th. For 3 nights now, I haven't slept. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. Visions are coming from areas of my mind that I don't understand. July 2nd. These grotesque images keep crowding in on me. At night, I find myself wandering alone in town, catching glimpses of horrid animals I know can't be there. And along the dark beach, faces haunt me. Pale women with sleepless eyes and shadowy figures staring toward the black water.
He didn't return that night. I walked along the beach in the morning, as I'm sure he must have, coming out of the nightmares he spoke of, back into the daylight. I drove into town later. It was hot already. I saw an art gallery and I thought they might know my father. The art dealer was blind. Her fingers moved like a pale spider over my face.
Joseph Lang? Do I know who he is? We do get magazines in Point Dune, which some of us can even read.
Well, I meant I'm looking for him. And I thought maybe you knew him personally.
Point Dune isn't an artist colony. I heard he did take people out there, mostly women, but they weren't from Point Dune. There were some people in this morning looking for your father, which means some people do like his brand of art.
Who were they?
I don't know. Strangers. I think they're staying at the Seven Seas.
I'm as old as the hills. Mama delivered me herself. She took me from between her legs. Bloody little mess. Just about to feed me to the chickens. And Daddy said, maybe we could use a boy, Lottie. That's how I came into the world.
Excuse me. They said at the gallery that you were looking for Joseph Lang. He's my father, and I just...
Just come in and close the door.
All I want to know is if you knew...
Close the door. Go ahead, Charlie.
It's hard to remember back on things, but I remember the red moon my daddy told me about, only once. Mama gave him a bad look when he talked about it. He was only a boy himself then. He called it the blood moon. He said that was the night that he lost religion. He learned that men could do horrible things. Like animals.
I'm really hungry. I've got the munchies.
Shut up. Go ahead, Charlie. What about the moon?
100 years ago, the moon started turning red up in the sky and things began to happen. It was like the red of the moon got up there, the closer the people were being jerked toward hell, where the people started bleeding out of control. They found children eating raw meat. It was like the town was festering with an open sore until the night that they came down out of the canyon and...
Who came down, Charlie?
I gotta go.
Charlie. Take the wine, Charlie.
Well, thanks for your kindly hospitality.
I'm looking for my father. Do you know him?
I know of him.
They told me at the gallery.
We drove by the gallery this morning. I happened to see one of your father's works in the window. I didn't know that he lived here.
They didn't have any of his paintings there.
Well, that's popularity. Because they did this morning. I offered to buy one, and the old woman said they weren't for sale. As a matter of fact, it was a portrait of you.
Tom likes to collect things.
Like old trunks?
Old-fashioned retort.
What's a retort?
Tony, you're half girl, half child, and half wit.
Sit on it, sister.
Don't be afraid. I'm an ugly old man, but I'm harmless. It's about your daddy. They mustn't hear me. I got him fooled. I get drunk, sleep on the sidewalk like a dog, and he let me be. I ain't crazy. Not old Charlie.
What about my father?
You have to kill him.
You're crazy.
You can't bury him. Don't put him in the ground. You gotta burn him. You gotta put fire to his body.
All right. The crazy old man, Charlie, by the way, is played by Elisha Cook Jr., who also played the crazy old man in House on Haunted Hill, one of our selections back in 2020, for those of you who remember that. So, it's a little fun fact. I hope you guys are enjoying the film so far. Again, I think it's a good one. It's got this very distinctive feel to it, right? It's mysterious, but it's also got this very sinister undercurrent beneath the surface. Obviously, you get that with the opening scene in which a guy gets his throat slit, but I think it's really driven home in the gas station sequence. Because there's just something about gas stations, right? I mean, obviously, these days, people have very tangible material reasons for being afraid of gas stations. But even putting that aside, they're just creepy, right? It's just something about, like, you have to go there when your car runs out of gas, and then you can't leave until you refilled. You're sort of held captive in a way. And this isn't even the first public domain horror fest selection that's had a gas station in it. There was also a gas station scene in Werewolf of Washington, Hoff's Horror Fest, brought to you by Mobile, obviously. And the film The Sadist took place entirely at a roadside depot. And there are any number of other horror movies where a gas station is like the first place that you're given a hint of potential evil. Like in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or Jeepers Creepers, or Urban Legend. And this isn't even really just true for the horror genre. Action films have been teaching us for years that gas stations are ready to explode at the drop of a match. And even in comedy films, gas stations can be a site of violence and terror. So, why is it that gas stations are so upsetting to us? Maybe it's because they represent an industry and an infrastructural approach which is driving us further and further into a degraded quality of life. Maybe it's because every time you pull into a gas station, you could be pulling up alongside your future murderer, some psycho with a gun in his glove compartment who's still mad that you took too long to start moving when the light turned green. Maybe it's because car accidents are one of the leading causes of death in America, and every time you refill your tank, you're reaffirming your commitment to a blood pack that lasts a lifetime. Who knows? What I do know is that as long as gas stations are with us, gas station horror will be as well. Because you just don't get the same level of scariness from alternative energy modes of transportation. And Hollywood has tried. Like, you guys might remember the film When a Stranger Charges Their Car, where Mia Goth is a woman who does not own an electric vehicle and gets the terrifying message the charge is coming from inside the house. There's also, of course, the bicycle-themed remake of Steven Spielberg's Duel, playing off the two wheels. But, you know, the idea of a bicycle being pursued by a somewhat larger bicycle, for some reason, it just wasn't as scary. It didn't work as well as the original version with trucks. So, I don't know, maybe we have to keep relying on gasoline for the sake of all this great art. But, then again, we'll always have public transportation horror, and, you know, a home invasion could always happen to you, no matter how you're getting from place to place, so that's another thing to be afraid of. So, you know, whether we have gas stations or not, there'll always be something for us to have anxiety about. But man, they sure are creepy. So, let's watch some more of the film.
I spent the afternoon in town asking about my father. The reaction was always the same. People would only stare or shake their heads and back away.
July 6th. Our Letty called this morning. I listened to her, but couldn't let her know I was here. My voice would have terrified her. At times, I make noises which don't seem human, and my mind is letting go. I try to remember the past, my daughter, but I can't. Instead, I think of death. Always death.
What are you doing here?
So comfortable, I didn't want to wake you. You're very pretty when you sleep.
I'm going to take a nap. Want to come?
Later.
But you can't stay here.
Just for the night. I'm willing to pay. We had a little trouble at the motel. You remember the old gentleman who was telling us the story?
Of course I do. He was mad.
Perhaps. But when they found him this afternoon, he was dead. The police came and questioned us. Needless to say, they weren't very understanding, what with me and my two traveling companions. And then suddenly, every other motel locked and shuttered its windows. You're the only other person we know.
What happened to the old man?
They found his body in the alley. He must have passed out or something. The police theorized that it must have been dogs. Well, they found his body half-eaten.
I let them stay. I never understood why. It was as if I'd come into a foreign town where I didn't speak the language, and was sharing a house with people I'd have never met in my other life.
Would you like some more?
Yes, thank you. This wind is strange.
It's like the Sirocco. It blows across the Mediterranean from Africa. I was born in Portugal, in a castle.
I thought it was a villa in Spain.
My mother was a Portuguese, aristocrat. My father was rich and American. I have a castle that stands above the sea. One of our legends tells it.
Tom, what are we doing in this shitty place?
I don't know, really. As I was saying, every race has their legends. The Romans, the Greeks, even the folk here in Point Dune had their stories. I'm interested in their story about the blood moon. What was your father doing here?
He didn't know anybody here. He could paint.
Has your father been painting long?
Laura's quite the art critic. She used to model. Photographers mostly. She specialized in exotic poses with snakes.
Oh, Tom just gets so clever when he's trying to get into somebody's pants. Listen, when you go to bed with him tonight, why don't you let him sleep?
Laura, I am tired of having to apologize for you.
Yuck! This stuff is shitty tasting. You're not supposed to eat the fuzz.
He said he was a collector of old legends. He thought my father knew something of the legend of Point Dune. I told him my father wasn't here. He said they could wait. Are you lost?
No. I've been walking. Have you seen the fires on the beach?
No, I haven't. Good night.
There is something you could do for me.
What?
My zipper is stuck. On my vest.
I'm sure one of your traveling companions could help.
Well, they're very angry with me. They get jealous when I'm around strange women.
How awkward.
Really? So if you just... It wasn't very hard.
No. I'm sure you could have done it yourself. Good night.
You don't just unzip a man and say goodnight. You are tired, aren't you? So am I. Good night.
Going out tonight?
I'm splitting.
Oh. How long?
Forever.
That's a long time. Why?
Because I'm tired. I'm tired of him. I'm tired of this place. He didn't get lost, you know. He came here on purpose. And why the hell Point Dune?
Don't you like the beach? Maybe you could learn to body surf. He's just farting around with her.
Yeah, we'll let him fart around. I'm going to San Francisco. Mickey will take me in.
Who's Mickey?
He's a drummer.
What about me?
You're just a kid. You'll be all right. He's given me too many lines.
Hey, Laura. Leave me some dope, huh?
Want a ride?
What the hell? Oh, hey, thanks.
You coming back from the waiting?
The what?
The waiting at the beach.
Uh-uh.
You like Wagner?
Oh, yeah, sure. Super. You can, let me off in town. You guys must have been, working late.
Moonlighting.
Moonlight.
Everybody was out there tonight. Even the little creatures. I found a lot of them.
A lot of what?
Beach rats. What's wrong?
Nothing. What do you do with them?
Do with them? I eat them. That's what I do with them. I've got another, if you'd like.
No, thank you. I'm just gonna get out right here.
You don't want it?
No. It's a very nice night to walk, really. Jesus. Hello? Hello? Hey! 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 Hey!
some people were discussing in the chat earlier, one of, I think, the most memorable things about this movie, apart from its use of the Ralph's grocery store chain, is the house that our protagonist Arletty is staying in. Her name is Arletty. It's very easy to miss, and it's a weird name, but that's her name. And she's in this house with a swinging bed, which is hanging from the ceiling by chains, and all these taxidermied animals and murals all over the wall. It's very strange. We did some research, and apparently the design of this movie was inspired by the work of a designer named Caspian Barton. There's a documentary about him called Bartonesque. I watched it, very interesting. I pulled a very brief clip, which I'm going to play for you now. So this is from the documentary Bartonesque, about the designer Caspian Barton, who inspired the look of that house in Messiah View.
It's hard to explain. You know, when I look at something, I see the color first, then the story, then perhaps the shape and the function, but mostly I wait for things to speak to me. When I was small, I made friends with the furniture. The couch was a squishy little friend, and the table was a willowy, long-legged creature, a villain with a strong flat back. You say a bed should sit in the middle of the room? I say a bed should feel as alive as the person sleeping in it, or sleeping with it. How are we to live our dreams if the waking world is stunted by a lack of imagination? I say let the bed swing, and if you're lucky, you get to swing the bed back. Stagnation is the enemy of genius. I don't speak to many people. I don't need to. The only company I need are the pieces that surround me, that envelop me in the darkness. Most people don't spend enough time with their surroundings. But I like to think they are more gentle and more loving than any human can ever be. Some people ask me, Caspian, are you lonely? And I say to them, would a man with 27 different varieties of armchair be lonely?
Yeah, very interesting guy. He retired from design in the 1980s. He's probably best remembered now for inventing the Love Swing as part of his sex furniture line. He died in 2004. He was discovered in his own sex swing, which was made entirely of recycled latex from Vivienne Westwood's 1991 Haute Couture Fashion Week showing. He was alone at the time. No, to each his own. Let's watch some more of the film.
July 17th. I dread the nights coming on now. The fires on the beach are more numerous, and more of them are coming out at night from the town. It's more horrifying than I expected. A crazy old man told me a story today about Point Dume a century ago, and a dark stranger arriving, and the monstrous things that happened to people when he came. I thought I was going mad, but worse now. I think the hideous things I'm seeing are not imaginary.
What are you doing?
What is this bullshit? I can't get any stations in.
Laura didn't say anything else. Give a girl a pair of shoes and she walks out on you.
On WUVI Radio 94 in Ludlow, the voice of Idaho.
Idaho. Idaho. Where are all the stations here? Why are they all out? There are no stations in this town. You can't hear anything. Can't it go, Tom. It's not that I care. It's just that I'm scared.
Of what?
I don't know.
I tried to sleep, and I fell in and out of half-dreams. I remember my father saying that you're about to awaken when you dream that you're dreaming. Tom.
Father?
I felt like I was losing control.
Losing control. It's not nightmares any longer, but something like a sickness that's still there with the sunrise. I think my body is being taken over by some unspeakable evil that's turning me into...
What's wrong?
I don't know. The light was on in the studio. I thought maybe I thought someone was in there.
Come on. It's all right.
There was a painting.
Come on, you've been having a bad dream. Come on, get in.
I don't know what else to do. Nobody in town knows him. I don't know where else he'd go.
Arletty, I think you should leave here.
That's a great idea. Why don't you both leave? Then maybe I could get a little sleep.
Hello? Yes, it is. What? I don't... Where?
The police said it must have been a mental problem. They had picked up my father twice in town. He was found wandering around before dawn. He never knew where he was, what he was doing in the dark streets. And then, people reported seeing him on the beach, building a huge sculpture. The tide must have collapsed it on top of him.
After this is over and we get through with some paperwork, I think you should take the young lady out of town. We're not really a tourist town, and strangers only bring problems.
July 20th. If the cities of the world were destroyed tomorrow, they would all be rebuilt to look like Point June. Entirely normal. Quiet. Silent, though, because of the shared horror in common. I know it's hiding now beneath its stucco skin.
I once was lost, but now... How is she? I remember the night my father died. He was coming home from work, drunk. He started
Bleeding out of control. They found children eating raw meat. And it was like the town was festering with an open sore until the night that they...
We're never gonna leave this place, are we?
Until the night they came down out of the canyon and...
Somebody came while you were gone.
Who?
I don't know. I heard this noise at the other end of the house. It sounded like somebody crying. I looked all over, but I didn't see nobody. I'm bored.
Why don't you, go to a film,
A what?
a movie?
Oh, a show. Great. I get to take the car. Then you two can be alone together.
I sat in my father's chair. The mundane scenes around me were of Point June. They were slightly distorted and foreboding, as if they were hiding some message, just as I knew now. The town was hiding some dark fear.
July 21st. My body temperature has dropped to 85. This morning I passed blood again. It's as if the thing that's taking over my body no longer needs human blood.
Melody, what's wrong? What is it?
Tom, I didn't feel it. Why didn't I feel it, Tom?
I don't know.
It's as if the thing that's taking over my body no longer needs human blood.
Father had beautiful hands. They were fine, long, almost feminine fingers. He was ashamed of them in a way. He used to laugh and say that after the revolution he'd be shot. That pale hands were the mark of a decadent life. That's how I knew. Tom, why did they lie to me? Those weren't his hands. They were coarse and large. That wasn't my father.
You sure?
Yes!
God. Tony.
The plot thickens. Now, we've had a lot of discussion in this film so far of this dark stranger figure, also known as the titular Messiah of evil, or you could call him the Antichrist, right? The figure who is foretold in the Book of Revelations as heralding the apocalypse. And so we thought it was only fair to reach out to the real Antichrist and offer him an opportunity to appear on the show and present his own perspective, his side of the story. And he was gracious enough to accept our invitation. So I'm going to bring him on live via Zoom right now, and I want everyone in the chat to give a warm welcome to tonight's guest, the Antichrist. Antichrist, hello!
Hello, Hoff. How's it going?
Good, just enjoying tonight's film.
Yeah, it's a good one, right? It's a lot better than a Creature from the Haunted Sea. First time, long time, by the way.
Oh, that's very flattering. So it's really exciting to have you on the show, because you've obviously been a controversial figure for millennia now. Do you feel like you've been portrayed fairly in our culture?
Well, to start off with, I don't really like the term Antichrist. Something my critics like to call me. I think it comes off very negative. I actually do like Messiah of Evil. That's got a nice ring to it, but I really prefer to think of myself as a friend of Satan.
I guess that's got kind of a warmer feel to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just update the Chiron here.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, no problem. I guess I should ask, what are your pronouns?
They, them, we are legion.
Got it. Of course, that makes sense. Well, sorry about earlier, though.
No worries. Yeah, so to get back to your earlier question, I would say that I've been demonized. I am a demon, so I would say that I've been stigmatized. It's kind of a problematic word here, too. A lot of people want to make me out to be the enemy of mankind just because I stand against everything that Christ stood for. But I don't think that's the case at all. Jesus' reputation has been really sanded down over the years, right? He said a lot of controversial things about turning the other cheek to aggressors, about how rich people can't get into heaven. Like a lot of real woke ideology that I think, Americans are sick and tired of, and I don't blame them. So, I don't think of myself as radical at all. People say that me and my associate Lucifer were trying to sow discord among humanity, but I like to think that we're just trying to promote competition.
But your presence on Earth is like a prerequisite for the apocalypse, right? Like the end of the world.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that? You can't get raptured without the apocalypse.
Okay, but what about people who aren't invested in the Christian idea of Armageddon? People who just want existence to continue,
Who wants that? What is there left to do? What are you going to do? Run Trump and Biden against each other until they drop dead? keep rebooting Spider-Man while the temperatures rise and the sea levels go up. Like, don't you think it's time to wrap things up around here?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I like to think that there might still be some way to make the world better.
You know, Hoff, a long time ago, there was another man who talked about making the world a better place. And that man was Jesus Christ. So look how that turned out. You know, maybe try betting on a winner this time.
Okay, well, I don't know if you've entirely convinced me, but thank you so much for coming on the show.
It was my pleasure. Thank you, and hail Satan.
Okay, thank you.
Say it back.
Have a good night. Oh. Very interesting perspective. I'm going to have to relight one of these candles, but for now, let's see some more of the film.
We come to this place for magic. We come to AMC theaters to laugh, to cry, to care. Because we need that, all of us. That indescribable feeling we get when the lights begin to dim. And we go somewhere we've never been before. Not just entertained, but somehow reborn. Together. Dazzling images on a huge silver screen. Sound that I can feel. Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Our heroes feel like the best part of us. And stories feel perfect and powerful. Because here, they are. AMC Theaters. We make movies better.
You can't take all three of us. Wrong.
part has got to be paid for his tune. Not just with money.
Wait, please. You've got to help. We only live a couple blocks from here. We were watching TV when we heard them. They came crashing through the sliding glass door, making that noise, that awful noise. We tried to get the children, but they already had them in the hall. They went after them like sharks. My husband dragged me out, and we ran to some neighbors who had guns, but it didn't stop them. They kept attacking anyway. He's still there. You've got to help.
I can't.
What's wrong?
Your eye.
Too late. Starting.
I'm very sorry.
July 28th. I cut myself this morning. My finger was nearly severed. Without feeling any pain, I ripped it off at the joint. I felt nothing at all. I'm disintegrating rapidly.
Father?
Daddy's home. But we're going to have to wait to see what he has to say, because we are getting pretty close to the end of the movie now, and some of you know what that means. It is time for the Horror Host Highlight Reel. For anybody who doesn't know what that is, the idea here is on this public domain version of the show, all the movies we're screening have been around for a while, they've been in the public domain for a while, and so a lot of people have hosted screenings of them before we came along, on late night television or the internet or wherever. So rather than pretending we're doing some unique thing here, which has never been done before, we like to pay tribute to the tradition we're a part of by putting together a montage of other horror hosts hosting the film of the night. And I think this is a good one. I had a lot of material to work with. There's a lot of stuff in this. There's a song and a computer game and a couple recipes for some reason. So I hope you guys like it. So here it is, your highlight reel of other horror hosts hosting Messiah of Evil.
Tonight's film is a classic. It's a staple of horror hosts everywhere, and that's called Messiah of Evil.
It's the 1973 love letter to H.P. Lovecraft, Messiah of Evil.
Coming up this week, 1973's Messiah of Evil.
Okay, so Messiah of Evil.
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 Messiah of Evil. Messiah of Evil.
Messiah of Evil.
Oh, Messiah of Evil.
Messiah of Evil.
Messiah of Evil. Messiah of Evil.
Messiah of Evil. Messiah of Evil.
Messiah of Evil.
Messiah of Evil. Ooh.
Big up some friends and check us out.
Tonight's movie is Messiah of Evil.
Yay!
It's a movie that makes me happy. It's an eerie little film. And we're gonna do some different things tonight. We're gonna learn how to make a meatloaf.
One of the coolest things about sculpting meatloaf is using the bacon to actually create different looks for your meatloaf.
We're going to be making devilishly good, grilled on the back of a truck, barbecue chicken. And to enjoy while we're making our devilishly good chicken, we're going to be enjoying Messiah of Evil.
We are joined by Barbara Crampton. She's been in so many things. We are going to watch Messiah of Evil, and this film is apparently quite disturbing.
I can't wait.
You've not seen it like me.
No, I haven't seen it. No, and I hear it's really spooky.
Tonight we're going to be watching The Messiah of Evil.
This is two fat drunks versus
Messiah of Evil.
Messiah of Evil.
Messiah of Evil.
Messiah of Evil.
Fucking Messiah of Evil.
This is Messiah of Evil, guys. I'm gonna eat this apple pizza while I watch.
Point doesn't look any different than 1,000 other neon stucco towns.
100 years ago, the moon started turning red up in the sky, and
You don't just unzip a man and say goodnight.
Okay, that has got to be the worst pickup line ever. And whoever heard of a Bess that zips up the sides?
Beach rats.
Beach? Whoa.
That mouse crunched like a Cheeto. Oh my god, guys.
If you're very good boils and ghouls, and you sit through real free of Messiah of Evil, you get to hear a little bit of the Bone Pounders album. Say my name. Bone Pounder. Bone Pounder. Bone Pounder. Say my name. Bone Pounder. Bone Pounder. Bone Pounder. Yeah. I'm a lady boner. Have I give the girls a lady boner? Bride of Frankenstein? Yeah, the chick is a motor.
Sammy Davis is great.
I want it noticed.
And the movie's like 5,000 times better
The
now.
movie she's watching is so much better
please
than the movie she's in that we're watching her watch.
Today we are going to be playing Rough Cuts, Messiah of Evil. So let's get in here and check this out.
This is one of the handful of movies that I've watched for B-Movie Enema, the blog, that I consider to be actually very solid.
I think we can all agree that that film deserves a way better rating than the 6.5 on IMDb.
It's got all the right creeps and scares.
Yes, I'm enjoying it myself.
You know, I want to talk about something real quick. I want to talk about what drove me to host movies in the first place. Thanks to the likes of Dr. Creep on local TV and folks like Joe Bob Briggs on Monster Vision and the wild cast of characters on USA Up All Night, movie watching was extra fun for a lonely kid such as myself. My love goes out to every single one of my brothers and sisters in grease paint, shock wigs, and any wild costuming they deemed appropriate. I smile big knowing you are all out there and carrying the torch, Now, Messiah of Evil, let's press play.
You heard the man. Let's press play on the thrilling conclusion of Messiah of Evil.
Alupului, I tried to warn you. I dragged one of the bodies they killed up on the beach, but you still didn't leave. There's little time left. You'll have to go. Tell people on the outside. Warn them that what happened 100 years ago is happening again.
What?
Listen. Please listen. He came 100 years ago. A hunter first saw him.
He told the hunter that he had been a minister and had come over the mountains with a Donner Party. He passed that horrible winter with them and saw men commit hideous acts. He said that he himself had eaten human flesh, but had survived because he had faith. Faith in a new master. The hunter didn't understand when the dark stranger said he was spreading this new religion. When they found the hunter, he looked as if he'd been attacked by some kind of animal, half-eaten. As he was dying, he told them of the dark stranger. And they assumed he was delirious. When he went into a fit, biting at them like a rabid dog, they shot him.
The dark stranger watched the chaos. And he walked into the sea and said he would return 100 years later to a world tired and disillusioned. A world looking back to old gods and old dark ways. Our world. You've got to go now. Most of this town is infected. It's got to be destroyed before the moon turns blood red and he returns to lead them up the coast and inland into the cities.
We can both go.
They took me and they did this to me.
We'll go home.
I can't. I already tasted human flesh.
kill him. If you love your daddy, you will kill him. Can't bury him. Don't put him in the ground. Gotta bury him. Put fire to his body.
Arletty? 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 Arletty?
Why didn't you leave?
I came back here to get you.
Tom, it's too late.
I saw them in town. They're traveling in packs like wolves. I think the whole town. I was dreaming. We were in a forest, and it was snowing. The trees were wet, and you were looking up. And I asked you what you were thinking. You said you were thinking about all the people who were born and died. While the trees went on living. Then we came to a village and we spent the night in a wood room. The next day it was so cold, we stayed in bed to keep warm.
out.
We thought we must have made it out of the town. And then we saw the first one. They were coming down to the beach as they did every night, to stare at the ocean and wait. We could go no further. They were all around, watching us, staring at us, as if we were trapped animals, caught, already bleeding, yet still struggling hopelessly. We hoped to make it to one of the small boats on the horizon, and then we would drift out and head for safety down the coast. He was having trouble with his arm. I had hurt him, and now I couldn't help him. Boats didn't seem any nearer. And the last thing I saw was the setting sun. They hadn't let me drown. They had pulled me from the water. They had prevented my last escape. That night, most of the town was on the beach. They built their fires, not for warmth, but as beacons to be seen from the black ocean. They dressed me in an old gown. I was to be offered, and following their prophecy, the moon turned blood red, and the dark stranger returned. He let me go with a story that condemned me, knowing that they wouldn't listen. He was right. I made it back, and they put me here.
He told them of the dark stranger, and they assumed he was delirious. When he went into a fit, biting like a rabid dog, they shot him.
It was like
the night the moon turned blood
the red of the moon got up there.
Horrible, pale creatures
Closer,
who were
the
no
people were
longer
being jerked, Lord hell.
crashed into farmhouses and gorged themselves.
Men could do horrible things.
Foreign
Animals, folks with shoes on the streets 100 years ago.
During the day, they let me out with the others. We sit in the sun and wait. We sleep. And we dream. Each of us dying slowly in the prison of our minds. And at night, I roam the empty halls, listening to their whispering. I try to find someone who can hear me, because I have to warn them that back there in that small town on the coast, they're growing in number and moving out into the rest of the world, spreading their sickness. And in order to live, they'll take you one by one, and no one will hear you scream. No one will hear you scream!
Well, there you go. That's Messiah of Evil. I hope you all enjoyed the film, and I hope you enjoyed the show. I've been your host, Hoff Matthews. My co-producers on this show are Andrei, Alupului, and Bess, Pritchett. And we might do another one at some point, whoever knows. So if you want to keep up with us, email us at hoffshorrorfest@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter or Blue Sky. I have a Threads account, but I'm not really on it. I don't really like it, but we're in most of the places, so check us out there. Thank you all, as always, for tuning in and watching and making this such a fun experience. I hope you all have a spooky summer, and for now, good night and zoopy to you all.
Demon, I feel the fire from ash, but I got time to do the horizontal monster mash. Skeleton flow, like the titans we clash. Got an axe to grind with me, you just walk the street.